Hello and welcome to the Rainbow Library. My name is George and we are here to talk about None of the Above by I.W. Gregorio, this month's book of the month. Well, last month's book of the month, but we're talking about it now. A lot of reviews of this have already gone up, so I'm going to try and keep this as short as possible. None of the Above is about a girl called Kristen Latimer who right at the beginning of the book is crowned homecoming queen and on her homecoming night has sex with her lovely boyfriend Sam. It's not the best experience for her, so she goes to the doctors to get herself all checked out, make sure everything is okay, and finds out that she is intersex, which means she externally looks like a girl but has male chromosomes and some male parts inside of her. So what we get is a story about her coming to terms with who she is and what this means for her and what happens when it gets leaked to the whole school, how it affects her friendships, how it affects her relationship with Sam, and how it basically changes the way that she looks at her life for quite a while. I really enjoyed this book. I don't think Kristen is the most sympathetic character in the world, but I think when you consider what she's going through, there is a lot that you can empathise with. Even though I'm in no position to say whether this is a good representation of someone who is intersex, for me it felt quite sensitive, and I think what the emotions that Kristen was going through, I thought they felt quite true, but if you do know different, please do tell me. What you find out if you read the author's note at the back of the book is that you find out about I.W. Gregorio's background as a physician and all the things that she has done and the research about it, which actually explains a lot of the book's content. A lot of the book I found to be quite clinical. I thought it was very much focused on the diagnosis and the process and what happens following that and the options that Kristen has, which I think is an interesting take on it. I think I didn't know what I was expecting, and because the thing is, this is the first book I've read where there is a character in it who is intersex, so it was the first kind of exposure is the wrong word, but it's the first time I've seen that represented in a book, especially in a YA novel. So in some ways it's almost acting like some kind of guide. I think maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what Gregorio was trying to do when she was writing it. She wanted to kind of show a bit more about what the options are and what happens, which I think is what you get when you meet some of the intersex friends that she makes via the forums. What you have in the book, I think, is a lot of well-rounded characters in V and Faith and Sam and Darren. You get a lot of different viewpoints on how different people perceive these different things, and I think that's quite good because intersex isn't a thing that is talked about an awful lot. I was never really sure until I read this book, and this is really terrible, until I read this book and the doctor said, oh, you're intersex, or depending on what terminology you want to use, you're a hermaphrodite. I didn't know that intersex and hermaphrodite were one in the same. I didn't know what intersex was. I thought it sat alongside genderqueer, which just shows my absolute ignorance and shows me off to be a really awful person. But it was really interesting to read this book and to kind of learn a bit more about what that's like and about what that feels like. It felt like emotionally, it felt quite true to me. It felt like these are the kind of thoughts I would be having. I would like to read another book about an intersex character. If you know any, please comment them down below because I'd really love to read them. Because this does take a very clinical view of it and a very diagnosis doctory view of it, and I would like to read something that possibly his own voices would be really nice. I'd really love to read something about someone who is intersex and how that exactly was for them and emotionally what they went through with doctors and physicians, what they went through with that. That would be really interesting to me. Anyway, I really enjoyed this book. I would recommend it. Do let me know what you thought about it in the comments box below. My name is George Lester. You can follow me in most places at the George Lester, which is on my Twitter and on my Instagram, or you can find me on YouTube at JesterG91. All links will hopefully be in the description box below. I love you all, and I will speak to you soon with any luck. Bye!